Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome to Reading the Science of Mind in 1 Year. I'm Reverend Rafe, Senior Minister and Spiritual Leader of the Center for Spiritual Living Common Ground in Central Maryland. Today is July 1st. So let's get started with our reading and see what comes alive in us to share. Here we go. Reading for July 1st, Science of Mind, A Philosophy of Faith, A Way of Life by Ernest Holmes. Reading from page 283, paragraph 2, through page 284, paragraph 4, using inclusive language. The Prayer of Faith. No class of people on earth believes more in prayer than we do. Our whole theory is based not only on the belief in spirit, but in the availability of it, its immediate response. We even go so far as to say in everyday language, pray right and creation cannot help responding. This is as far as anyone can go in faith. There is no confusion in the approach to reality. It should be calm and dispassionate, but filled with feeling, because feeling and emotion are creative. We should combine the letter and the spirit of the law. Faith is the power of prayer. Now, what is faith? When we analyze faith, we find that it is a mental attitude against which there is no longer any contradiction in the mind that entertains it. Unfortunately, we find there is great faith in fear. Faith in the fear that one may lose their position. Faith in the fear that one may lose material possessions. Faith in the fear that one may lose their health, and so on. If the mental attitude is a relationship to Creator, that is faith in Creator. If it is in relationship to one's ability to write a poem, that is faith in one's creative ability. Faith is a mental attitude which is so convinced of its own idea, which so completely accepts it, that any contradiction is unthinkable and impossible. Before such a mental attitude can be created, there must be nothing left in the subjective state of our thought which contradicts our objective affirmation. Faith is a mental assertion elevated to the plane of realization. It is beyond the mere quibbling or murmuring of words, for it identifies itself with reality in such a manner that reality becomes real to the believer. The invisible becomes visible to the mind, and the unseen real. Faith is real to the one who experiences it and cannot be denied to the mind of the one who has proven it. And what is this faith we should have? We should have faith that there is but one mind. This mind is both the mind of people and the mind of God. We use the mind of God, since there is but one mind. This mind is the essence of creativeness and the essence of goodness. It is available to all. It is no respecter of persons, since it has already incarnated through all. It is in all and through all. Faith will not be denied, will not take no for an answer. It speaks in affirmative language. Faith knows that the universe is a spiritual system, that people are part of this system. It knows that a person's environment is also a part of this system. Because the system is perfect, the condition may become perfect, and would be perfect if it were known to be so. Faith knows that the life of any person is God, the birthless and the deathless reality of all being. Faith looks to the invisible, and instead of seeing a void, it fastens its gaze upon a solid reality. Faith is not hope, it is substance. It does not look away from itself, being substance. it looks within itself. In doing this, it realizes that the life of God is also the life of people. Faith affirms this and denies anything and everything that contradicts what to it is the supreme fact of existence. Faith is essential to effective mental treatment, but this faith should be one of understanding. So, faith may be said to be scientific. That is, we are now dealing with a principle that has been defined and we know something about the way it works. We know how to use the law governing it. Faith in this law helps us to use our understanding with greater conviction. Oh my goodness. Hey, I love how this describes faith, where it's talking about faith is a substance. It's and where it's talking about we see into, we look into the substance. The image that came to me while the reading was happening is imagining, instead of having faith that something is going to come to us, that we actually look within us, within the substance, whether it's this physical being that is substance or some other physical representation, but to look within to find the answer. But first, I have to believe the answer's actually there, right? I'm not looking for the answer to be created. I'm not creating the answer. I am looking into infinite substance where the answer already exists, where infinite intelligence already is. And I think the biggest thing that precludes us actually doing that is we don't have the faith that everything already does exist, that infinite possibility is a real thing, that within the unseen, everything that can ever be seen already exists. And I don't know about you, but I get why that's hard to wrap my head around, because I'm in human form and I am in this physical realm where the conditioning is to believe what we see. Right? We have all of this conditioned thinking that really turns our head away from the invisible to the physical, right? Um, that teaches us that faith is wishful thinking, um, and it's not, right? Um, and I imagine when this was all put in caps, I imagine there, you know, the emphasis. Um, Faith is a mental attitude which is so convinced of its own idea, which it so completely accepts that any contradiction is unthinkable and impossible. You know those places, those thoughts, those beliefs that you have that the minute somebody challenges it, something inside of you just, nope. It's not even, no, I'm not even going to entertain that, right? You are so thoroughly convinced that that's how it is that you won't allow it to be challenged. That's faith. Now, one of the more challenging things to recognize is that we have a lot of those beliefs that we have faith in, those, what I call that category of, well, this is just how it's always been. It's a category of faith that perhaps could use some examination. Um, because if we're talking about defending something in this physical realm, ain't nothing always been anything in the physical realm. It's just constant change. And if we're unwilling to look at a conditioned belief system, for me, that's a flag. Because if in fact it is solid, if it is in alignment with spiritual principle, there's no threat to examining it, right? I can question it, I can test it, I can prove it. And the reading talks about proving, right? Am I willing to examine every belief I have to make sure that it's in alignment with spiritual principle, that it's in alignment with the truth of my being, to test it, right? To take it for a test drive to see if, in fact, it really is what I was taught that it is. And then to establish my faith based on that, so that my faith is informed rather than blind. That's what comes alive in me. And I love this whole reality in such a manner that looking at reality itself in such a manner that reality, capital R, the substance, becomes real to the believer. The invisible becomes visible, and the unseen real. The most exciting part of faith that I have experienced is my willingness to challenge everything, because then it becomes real, right? If I have this protectiveness that says it can't be challenged, for me, that's fear based. And mind, God, spirit, whatever we want to call it, is up for examination. It can withstand the highest level of scrutiny, and still line up with itself. I've experienced this and continue to experience the unreal being made real in my experience, in my views. But I only get there by study, by questioning, and taking it apart and testing it. And so I encourage you to do the same. It can withstand the examination, and you will be all the better for it. So let's take this into our time of meditation and contemplation. And I invite you just to be present with whatever comes alive in you, and allow yourself to just be for the next 5 minutes. So as I breathe, I recognize that it is the breath of life breathing me, that it is the substance of life itself expressing itself, expressing itself individualized as this me in human form. One substance, whole, perfect, and complete. Nameless, changeless, infinite possibility, infinite intelligence, infinite abundance, infinite everything. Simply expressing in the multiplicity of form, in the multiplicity of activity, the multiplicity of experience. That everything in physical form is an expression of this one. Everything in this physical realm and beyond, everything in the cosmos, is an individualized, one-of-a-kind, intentional, purposeful desire of creation to experience itself as that individualized expression. And being made out of one substance, every expression of it is inseparably connected to the source and to every expression of the source, because it's all source. So everywhere I look, I see a part of me. Everything I hear a part of me. One, always one. No better than or less than, no bigger than or smaller than. In the purity of spiritual substance is the essence of equality and equity. The substance itself, the level playing field. So all are made equal. All fully infused with the very substance of divinity. Empowered by choice to become aware of that desire within us, which is the same desire of creation, to express in the authentic, personal way that it desires to express as us. And this activity of faith is the activity of becoming aware of that desire, saying yes to that desire, proving the substance of that desire. That for every desire to express, the substance is already present. So everything that I desire, everything that is desired, is already fully funded, fully equipped, fully licensed, fully prepared, fully sustained by the same power that desires to experience it. And so I look inward into the substance of creation. for every answer I seek. And as I look inward, I become aware of the task of removing everything that's in the way of seeing what has always been there. That in the perfection and wholeness of one, there's never anything to add and everything to uncover. So I commit myself again this day to do the work, to explore the depths of my being, to practice faith, faith that is unshakable, that faith that has proven the truth of being. And I am so grateful. I feel things shifting and moving within me, even as I affirm my choice. The activity of law already taking effect, already doing what it does. To align that substance to manifest in form, to meet the desire. The lawful activity of creation that always says yes can only say yes. That doer within the creative process that simply does. Doesn't care what it does, doesn't even know what it does, it simply does. And it has already made it so. So I celebrate. And I move into this day in an attitude of acceptance to receive the blessing of awareness, blessing of a greater experience of the truth of substance expressed in form. And so to experience the fullest manifestation of the word spoken, I release everything unlike it. I release all of the fear and all of the doubt and all of the human static. I let it all go. And I walk this day in the knowledge, attitude, and activity of proving faith in form. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amen. Amen. And so it is. Namaste. Thank you.